The FPV drone pilots of the 58th Motorized Infantry Brigade, named after Hetman Ivan Vyhovsky, made a selection of numerous hits with their FPV drones of Russian armored vehicles, cars, and motorcycles. The video of the work of FPV drone operators was released on Sunday, September 8th, on the brigade's official page on Facebook. Not only that, in recent operations in Kharkiv region, the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade achieved significant tactical success against Russian forces. The brigade disabled several Russian armored vehicles, including the T-72 and T-80 tanks. This operation underscores Ukraine's growing proficiency in countering Russian armor using advanced technologies. Key to this success was the effective deployment of FPV drones by the FATUM unit, part of the brigade's anti-tank battalion. These drones were used to destroy 5 enemy supply trucks, 3 of which were targeted while on the move, demonstrating exceptional precision and skill in dynamic combat conditions. Meanwhile, Kremlin troops isolated in a Kursk border region adjacent to Ukraine lost their last clear path to safety and possibly were trapped, following a punishing Ukrainian missile or bomb strike that demolished a tactically critical road bridge crossing the Seym River. The daylight attack, hitting the reinforced concrete hard road structure, was recorded by unmanned aircraft operated by the Ukrainian tactical drone unit Korn Group. Korn drone video images showed 3 weapons striking an already damaged central span of the bridge in succession with near-pinpoint precision. The first 2 warheads scattered cluster munitions that detonated on the bridge or in the water, and the 3rd weapon detonated with a single unitary explosion, Kyiv Post-Review found. A Korn statement said the bridge was located adjacent to the Kursk region village of Karij, and that following the strike, the span was no longer usable to vehicles. Ukraine's military on Monday published a Russian dashcam video, likely showing the strike from the viewpoint of a driver. In the direction of Toretsk, the Russians have made significant progress in the fight for New York, placing Ukrainian defenders under siege at a local chemical factory. In response, the Ukrainian command deployed the elite 12th Special Purpose Azov Brigade, resulting in the liberation of the most fortified part of the city. Previously, Russian forces seized control of the high-rise district in the western part of the city, an important gain due to the nature of the terrain. The remaining areas under Ukrainian control consist of small residential houses around the industrial zone. The high-rises equipped the Russian servicemen with a commanding view and fire control over the low-lying residential areas, tipping the scales against Ukrainian forces. The scarce fortified defenses in the residential sector pushed Ukrainian forces to dig in at their only remaining stronghold, the heavily fortified chemical plant. The Russians advanced effectively by leveraging their fire control and observation points from the high-rises, coupled with numerical superiority and heavy firepower, to push the Ukrainian troops back toward the chemical plant. However, their momentum was short-lived, as Ukrainian forces quickly fortified their positions around the industrial zone, putting the brakes on the Russian advance just outside the plant. The Ukrainians utilized the plant's strong defensive structures to fend off the Russian assault, preventing further Russian advance into the industrial sector. The Russians decided to play the waiting game, avoiding direct assaults and instead aiming to cut off Ukrainian supplies and starve them into submission. The Ukrainian command saw through the ploy and deployed the elite Azov Brigade to break through the siege and shore up the supply line to maintain the defense. The Azov Brigade consists of veteran fighters who made their mark in the battles of Mariupol and Donbass up until 2022, making them some of the most battle-hardened troops in Ukraine's military. After a series of successful prisoner exchanges, these soldiers were reorganized into the brigade, now commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Denis Prokopenko, the former commander of the original Azov Regiment. The Azov fighters were swiftly deployed to the Toretsk direction, with their movements concealed until the counterattack. This surprise assault caught Russian forces in New York completely off guard while scrambling to dig trenches and set up barbed wire defenses. They were quickly overwhelmed by Azov's coordinated drone and artillery fire, which decimated the Russian positions before they could get their defenses in order. The Azov fighters targeted Russian positions around the plant to weaken their defenses ahead of the main assault, leveling Russian firing points in residential houses around the plant.